Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. Today, we're diving into one of the hottest names in the transfer portal, Notre Dame offensive tackle Rocco Spindler. Yesterday, I put out a video about 5 teams who still had needs to fill in the transfer portal, the spring transfer portal window. You can go find that video. The link is in the description. You go watch it there. I don't just talk about these 3 teams today, but I talk about other teams as well. Surprisingly enough, or unsurprisingly enough, the offensive line was a need for most of them, as it generally is for a lot of teams in the transfer portal. As a former top 100 recruit and proven starter, Rocco Spindler fits that bill for a lot of these teams because according to On3's Pete Nakos, he has 3 Big Ten teams vying for his services. Those 3 are Indiana, Michigan, and Nebraska. We'll break down the fit with each program and come to a conclusion about where he will most likely land. First, let's look at who Rocco Spindler is. Rocco Spindler is a 6'5", 325-pound offensive guard from Clarkston, Michigan. Was one of the most sought-after recruits in the 2021 class. He started 23 games while at Notre Dame, including 13 games during this run to the national championship last season. And honestly, that Notre Dame offensive line may have been the offensive line that performed the best against Ohio State if you watch those games. That's arguable, but despite not starting the season as the first choice for Notre Dame, he earned his role through hard work, consistency, and having to shuffle things around a little bit. Now, with 1 year of eligibility left, Spindler is looking for the right program to help him maximize his potential, both on the field and off the field in the NIL space. For the record, Pete Nakos did also mention Pitt and Virginia as possible options, but we're going to stick to the Big Ten teams as they look to be the ones that are probably the most promising for Rocco Spindler, and they're the ones I know best, so they're the ones I'm going to speak on. First, let's check out Indiana. Spindler visited Indiana on Saturday, signaling a strong mutual interest between him and the Hoosiers. For the Hoosiers, his addition would provide immediate stability to an offensive line that struggled this last season. They did very well at the beginning, but as the season went on, things did not go so well. He would have a lot of potential to become a leader and help younger players develop. Indiana's relatively thin roster depth makes Spindler a likely day one starting guard for them. And for a guy with 1 year of eligibility remaining, that is very, very enticing. You do not want to get into a situation where you're competing for a job, especially when you only have 1 year left and you're trying to make it to the NFL. Additionally, there's speculations that NIL opportunities remaining in state. NIL opportunities and remaining in state might influence his decision and be better for him. Notably, Indiana's ability to attract offensive line talent like Spindler is pretty rare, making him a critical piece for their rebuilding efforts. I initially thought that Pat Coogan might be a better fit, and he still could be due to his playing center and rumors of his girlfriend attending IU. But Spindler visiting Indiana makes him seem like a more likely option at this point. Despite the potential fit, Indiana's program lacks some of the name brand perception and NFL development track record as Michigan and Nebraska. And I know Indiana fans, you had a great year, and I'm not trying to disparage any of that. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to say this is typically what players look for, and Indiana, unfortunately, is just not in that same stratosphere right now. Spindler is looking for a team that can provide the best path to the next level, and Indiana's struggles in that area could hinder their chances. Next, let's look at Nebraska. Nebraska's new coaching staff, particularly on the offensive side with Dana Holgorsen, led by Matt Rhule, has made offensive line recruitment a top priority. With a depleted interior line following the departure of key players, Spindler would fill an immediate need for them. Now, Nebraska's quarterback, Dylan Raiola, has reportedly been active in recruiting Spindler through social media, which seemed to be helpful with the recruiting of David Sanders, as Nebraska was rumored to be the second or third choice in his recruitment. Ohio State was ultimately the one that kind of made it a little bit more interesting there at the end for Tennessee, but Nebraska was in the top 5 and projected to be in the top 3. And so for Nebraska, Spindler's experience and skill set could stabilize the offense, allowing the team to run Rhule's balanced attack effectively. The Cornhuskers' facilities and resources also align with Spindler's NIL or NFL ambitions. It is interesting, though, as Spindler doesn't totally fit the Huskers' bill as an interior offensive lineman, and the Huskers seem to be more in need of, say, a tackle at this point, right? Now, however, in most cases, if you find a talented player, if you find a player you think you can put on your offensive line who can be a leader, who can play, who can be a good asset for you, you find a way to make it work. Right, the program lost its starting center, and the backup has never taken a college, has never started a college game. I'm gonna say taking a snap. He's taken snaps. He's never started a college game. While tackle has been the focus, getting either a center or a guard, or just getting a guard and moving Justin Evans to center should be on the table for this team. Finally, there are many fans that are concerned about Nebraska's registration deadline for classes, which is this Tuesday, January 28th, and they believe that this may not give Spindler enough time to finalize a decision and enroll. But let's clear this up for a minute, okay? I don't think this needs to be as big of an issue as some people make it out to be. Although Michigan and other classes have deadlines for the class registration as well, and those deadlines have actually passed the other ones. Exceptional circumstances is often wording that is used to allow registration for athletes. As a graduate transfer, Spindler's focus will likely be on summer and fall practices rather than practicing in spring ball. There's no guarantee he's going to do that, which would reduce the urgency of immediate enrollment. And even if Spindler is not practicing, that doesn't mean he won't be in contact with the coaches, working on his own, studying the playbook, trying to get involved with the team, maybe even moving closer to campus, being with the other players, right? Only Nebraska's registration window remains at this point, but even that is a tight deadline. Like I said, that's next Tuesday. Is he really going to take only one visit this weekend and really decide by then? I don't think so. Lastly, let's look at Michigan. Michigan is the front runner for several reasons, in my opinion. Spindler is a Michigan native, and the Wolverines finished second in his original recruitment, albeit that was years ago. Honestly, I don't even know if he needs to visit Michigan to know he wants to go there. Obviously, that would be helpful, and that would probably be something he's looking to do, but he knows so much about it, he probably doesn't even need to visit. Michigan's track record with offensive line transfers is also impeccable under Sherrone Moore, who has developed multiple NFL caliber players and led the unit to 2 Joe Moore awards. But even as the head coach, Moore seems to be heavily involved in the offensive line, as most position coaches and coordinators turned head coaches tend to do. From a football standpoint, Michigan offers an immediate opportunity for playing time. While the Wolverines have depth at that position, there are 2 starting guard spots open and potentially up for grabs. And Spindler's experience could make him the ideal candidate for him to step in and compete right away, to start right away, to be there and be playing for this team. The Wolverines NIL program, which has become one of the best in college football, adds another layer to all this. But for most programs that bring in a lot of talent, the Wolverines are probably not going to guarantee a starting spot to Spindler. I mean, that's just not something you do outright as a program that is maybe holds a little bit more pride with your talent and the recruiting that you have. This could give Spindler pause at his avenue to the NFL. Is probably not sitting another year. Instead, he needs to earn his role during the summer workouts, right, in the preseason camp. Still, Michigan's development, still something they preach about, still something they talk about up there a ton. And so their development pipeline and overall program trajectory make them seem to be the most attractive choice. Now, there could always be other circumstances. We're kind of from the outside looking in, right? And those other circumstances you're probably not even going to find out from an insider most times, but he's probably going to Michigan. While Indiana and Nebraska present intriguing opportunities, Michigan, they check all the boxes for Rocco Spindler, right? The Wolverines offer a strong connection to his home state and family support, a proven track record of offensive line development and NFL preparation, a competitive NIL program that values player contributions, and immediate opportunities to compete for a starting role on a playoff contending team. Spindler's familiarity with the program and its coaching staff, coupled with Michigan's upward trajectory, I mean, all of this stuff make Ann Arbor the most logical destination in my mind. Expect an announcement somewhat soon. I mean, I don't think we're going to get it here at the end of the weekend, but you never know. Sometimes these guys make up their minds really quick. But for now, Michigan fans have every reason to feel confident in my mind. But what do you think? Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Is Michigan the clear choice, or are you thinking Indiana or Nebraska for another reason? You think they're going to make a late push, or do you think those ACC teams, right, Pitt, Virginia, they stand the best chance in this recruitment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the Big Ten Huddle for more transfer portal updates, recruiting news, all that stuff. We're getting into the off season, right? And so there will be a lot of off season coverage and everything. We're still going to come at you with live episodes and everything like that, but we're going to make sure we continue to come to you, giving you good information and giving you our takes and our opinions on the Big Ten. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good one.